someone has ever threatened to, quote unquote, half kill you, they actually may not be in violation of the Torah to do so. Hi, this is Barry, folks. The 10-minute Torah, day 2 of Mishpatim, and we're going to remain in Shemot, or Exodus, chapter number 21. And it says here that in verse 12, he who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hand, then he shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die. He who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death, and he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. Capital punishment is what's being described here for those crimes deemed extra heinously committed against one's neighbor. So to commit murder is actually more than just killing someone, obviously, but it is stealing. It is theft in that you steal another person's life and also their potential future. Imagine how many people would have been the answer to world problems of various sorts if they had only lived, but they were taken out by some violent means. Kidnapping someone is also to steal from them their free will and also to place them in bondage, causing them to be prevented from living according to their own choosing. So you are stealing their time, whatever duration of their future. Those that have been hostages in Israel for some 400 plus days to 500 days, their lives have been stolen and they have been kidnapped. And Yah says these kidnappers, the penalty for them is capital punishment. They are to die. So what about striking or cursing a parent? Why is that a capital crime? It's interesting here that when a son or a daughter curses their parents or strikes their parents, what they're doing is they are stealing the parents' dignity. They're showing them to be poor parents, and they are either shown to have not raised their child correctly or to know how to discern proper boundaries. They've raised them perhaps in fostering anger in their child. Well, your parents may have been horrible. They may have been bullies. They may have been tyrants. They may have been poor providers. But even so, we're not allowed to curse them or to strike them. If you can get away from them, wonderful, if that is indeed the necessary case. But here, the Torah is saying warring against or defaming them and destroying their reputation, it taints them and it taints their future. So it's not just about the moment, it is about the future that has been destroyed. Further, when someone goes into defamation verbally, committing lashon hara, and they are verbally destroying someone, they're taking the thing that separates us from the animal kingdom. That is the process of logic and making determined choices based upon the preponderance of whatever evidence that we have assumed to be true. And then we use our speaking voice that the animal kingdom does not have, and we seek then to act with animal instinct and destroy someone. So we are elevated to a much higher class than mere physical beasts and animals. But then even with the the possibility of speech, we act like animals. Now, my dad used to relate how that my grandma Phillips would corral them as they had misbehaved in some manner. And her threat was, I'll wear the blood out of you. And of course, once the punishment began, she was hollering to her husband, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. My mom also made some powerful threats of punishment. We survived. We're all right. We didn't need any counseling or therapy to get beyond that. So we make these threats. I'm going to knock you into next week. I'm going to tear you apart. You just wait till I get my hands on you. You're going to be sorry. It is when we act these things out. Violence is rarely an answer. Sometimes self-defense, sometimes the protection of your family. I get it. Warfare is a violent commodity. I get that. But balling up your fist and going after someone just because they made you mad, an uncontrollable temper, lashing out at someone, that's not Torah condoned behavior. And so if I injure someone because I lose my temper and I ball up my fist or I grab a weapon at hand and I cause bodily injury, I am liable to take care of that individual until they recover. If I take their life, if it wasn't presumptuous, I wasn't lying in wait for them, I'm punished severely. We are accountable for our actions. We have unfortunately raised generations that says, you poor thing, it's just because you had a pitiful environment as a child, or you're depressed, or it was the medications you're on that really pushed you into this arena. We will excuse about any and everything that we can think of. And Yah is saying to us, I have established for you boundaries, and I expect you to live and operate rightly within those boundaries. If you cause injury, you're accountable for that injury. If you take a life, you're accountable for that life, even with your own life. This chapter ends with an interesting set of scriptures where it says that when an ox gores a man, in verse 28, or a woman to death, and then the ox shall be stoned, and its flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. But if the ox was known to be one previously known to gore, or to attempt to gore, then if it wasn't kept confined and it's killed someone, then the owner is also put to death. Here is the interesting application. It is the tribe of Ephraim, synonymous now with the house of Israel, the house of Ephraim, the house of Joseph. This group of people are characterized by their emblems as an ox. And it seems to be this particular group of people that we are a part of, that maybe we are not goring with horns, but horns are symbolic of this. They are symbolic of power. Wherever you see horns used in Scripture, they're talking about horns of power, authority. And where we use position or titles or personality or our followings or our ministries to gore people, to charge at them, to try to do them harm. Yah says we need to be pinned up so that we don't hurt people. And if we get loose, then those that we have turned loose with our opinions and tirades, and they hurt people, we're accountable as well. Yah's not winking at any of this because the Torah is still in place and we're going to be judged by the Torah. And with that, I'll leave you and hopefully see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.